Hey, how's it going? I'll just back in with another sequence video. This one's Ezekiel 34 to 36. And so, I've highlighted the main points. And so Ezekiel 34:9, therefore you shepherds, hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against the shepherds, and I will require my sheep at their hand and put a stop to their feeding the sheep. No longer shall the shepherds feed themselves. I will rescue my sheep from their mouths that they may not be food for them. Okay. And so this entire system is literally trying to devour, God's right-hand side, his elect. Verse 11, and I will rescue them from all places where they have been scattered on a day of clouds and thick darkness. So clouds is these so-called UFOs. And I will bring them out from the peoples and gather them from the countries, okay? And so, they're in all nations. They've been scattered. Now we have a time of great tribulation, of sifting the rest of God's right-hand side. Verse 17, as for you, my flock, thus says the Lord God, behold, I judge between sheep and sheep, between rams and male goats. Is it not enough for you to feed on the good pasture that you must tread down with your feet the rest of your pasture? Okay. And it says here, and to drink of clear water that you must muddy the rest of the water with your feet. This is talking about the plagues, in Revelation 16. And must my sheep eat what you have trodden with your feet and drink what you have muddied with your feet? Okay, so this is a time of, famine and pestilence. Therefore, thus says the Lord God to them, behold, I myself will judge between the fat sheep and the lean sheep. So now this is the rest of God's right-hand side that's being sifted out. Verse 28, they shall no more be a prey to the nations, nor shall the beasts of the land devour them. This is a reference to the beast, and it's in verse 28, 2:8-16. And so this is the time of the beast system, really going after the rest of God's right-hand side. Now we have a section called Prophesy Against Mount Seir, which in modern day is representing America. The word of the Lord came to me, son of man, set your face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it, and say to it, thus says the Lord God, behold, I am against you, Mount Seir, and I will stretch out my hand against you, and I will make you a desolation and a waste. I will lay your cities waste, and you shall become a desolation. You shall know that I am the Lord. So after this quote-unquote Great Tribulation period, where God is sifting the rest of his right-hand side, America gets destroyed, and then it will never be inhabited again. Like it says here in verse 9, I will make you a perpetual desolation, and your city shall not be inhabited. Okay, so, that's, again, follows the sequence perfectly. Now in verse in Ezekiel 36, this is now prophesied to the mountains of Israel. So this is when Christ returns with his elect and is now having this battle in heaven, this Armageddon, centered in the Middle East. Okay, and then this is in verse 5. Surely I have spoken in my hot jealousy against the rest of the nations. Okay, so now it's a geographical shift. And then it's everybody against God, because now they're deemed the enemy, these so-called UFOs. And because of all the plagues that they've been doing during this 1260-day period. Verse 6, behold, I have spoken in my jealous wrath. Okay, so now this is the final wrath of God, because you have suffered the reproach of the nations. So now we have wrath and nations together. Therefore, thus says the Lord God, I swear that the nations that are all around you shall themselves suffer reproach. Okay, so they're going to be everywhere, when Christ returns with his elect in these so-called UFOs. It's in verse 36:6, 42, backwards is 24, 2:4. And then now we have a reference to the kingdom, in verse 11. And I will multiply on you man and beast, and they shall multiply and be fruitful, and I will cause you to be inhabited as in your former times, and will do more good to you than ever before. Okay, so this is when God's right-hand side are dwelling safely. Verse 24, this is in verse 24, for God's elect. I'll take you from the nations and gather you from all the countries and bring you into your own land. Okay? I'll sprinkle clean water on you, and you shall be clean from all your uncleanliness, and from all your idols I will cleanse you. And I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit I will put in you. God is going to do this. And I will remove the heart of stone from your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. And I'll put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes and be careful to obey all my rules. So God is going to program them to be perfect. This is in verse 27:14. This is for God's elect. You shall dwell in the land that I gave to your fathers, and you shall be my people, and I will be your God. And I'll deliver you from all your uncleanliness, and I will summon the grain and make it abundant and lay no famine upon you. So there's no more judgment anymore, no more disaster, calamity, and all that. So again, in Ezekiel 34 to 36, we see the sequence of the end times. Hope everyone's doing well. Bye.